The blinding spotlights bore down with the oppressive intensity of a dozen suns. On the massive stage in the heart of Las Vegas T-Mobile Arena, a solitary figure shuffled awkwardly to the centralized podium with head bowed, a pathetic specter amid the raucous cacophony of derisive jeers and thunderous boos raining down from every corner of the sold-out venue. For Prince Harry, the evening had distilled into his darkest, most humiliating nadir. What sadistic forces had conspired to place him in this impossible position? Subjected to such prolonged, nationally televised ridicule and scorn before millions of captive viewers? The Duke of Sussex found it increasingly difficult to even recall the well-intentioned context that led to this unmitigated hostility and embarrassment. All he knew was the painful reality unfolding in slow motion before his misting eyes, the unforgiving bright lights, the oversized NHL Awards logo glowering down from the jumbo screens flanking him, and the deafening drunken roars of derision that simply would not abate, no matter how deliriously he signaled for quiet or calm. Somehow, someway, he had squandered every last ounce of residual goodwill and beneficence from a once great nation that had once embraced him as a revered son. Now, he was regarded as a treacherous, self-loathing pariah, a sacrificial lamb to be slaughtered upon the unforgiving altar of populist furor. Ginger woke dip *********. Get the F*** off our stage. You're a disgrace to the military you deserted, Harry. Hey Megan's bitch, where's your ball and chain? From the darkened recesses of the arena's sprawling seating, the vitriol continued pelting him in malicious, creatively vulgar eddies. Hurled beer cans and bottles rained down in pitiful arcs, their trajectory mercifully falling well short of the stage, but providing no less jarring reminders of the violent contempt pulsing through the assembled throngs of irate hockey fans. Spittle frothed uncontrollably at the corners of Harry's mouth as his panicked eyes wheeled about in search of security, event staff, anyone who could intervene and extract him from this escalating hostage situation. But the stagehands had long since scattered, abandoning him to the mob's sadistic whims when the first obscenities began flying. Only the shrill whistling of NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman somehow pierced the din, temporarily placating the rowdy froth-mouths and restoring some semblance of order. Materializing at Harry's side, the tiny executive frantically motioned for the beleaguered royal to regain his composure and call for silence. Gripping the podium until his knuckles turned white, Harry forced a calming inhale into his burning lungs before nodding weakly to Bettman. He raised both trembling hands in the vain hopes of recapturing the crowd's waning attention. People, ladies and gentlemen, if I may, I've been invited here this evening. That was as far as he got before another deafening torrent of raspberries, jeers, and outright mockery subsumed his words. Strangely, even the arena staff providing the piped music picked up on the audience's bloodthirsty tenor, blasting the bitch is back by Elton John over the PA system in a cruel act of ironic accompaniment. Just look at this fucking disgrace to the crown, came the unmistakable boom of a thick Boston accent from the front rows. A once proud Englishman too chicken shit to face down that ball-bustin' Yank wife of his. Pathetic. Harry swiveled instinctively toward the source of the voice, a belligerent fan in a Bruins jersey blasting dual middle fingers in his direction. A cold, squirming sensation gripped the pit of his stomach as he recognized the hatred distorting the man's reddened features. It was a countenance he had seen mirrored back innumerable times of late, whenever his battered visage made its inevitable appearances across magazine covers and television sets. The open, unfettered contempt reserved solely for the spineless, weaker men who willingly surrender their souls in acts of self-emasculation before domineering, unstable wives and lovers. And if there were any shred of doubt over the merciless mockery stemming from coordinated interference by those nefarious emissaries of the royal rota, it evaporated in the next instant when a familiar, blood-curdling chant began rippling through the cavernous arena. Immediately. Immediately. Over and over again, thousands upon thousands of pumping fists and flailing arms coalesced into a taunting, rhythmic swell in sycophantic worship of his withering, manipulative spouse's indomitable power to reduce him to an international laughing-stock. Harry's mouth gaped in horror at the surreal spectacle as Gary Bettman glared at him with undisguised disgust, his lips silently forming the damning verdict. "This is on you, dickhead." The rest unfolded in an incoherent blur of humiliation, anguish, and soul-scything powerlessness that Harry barely registered. One moment, he found himself shrinking back from the merciless Calgary Flames fan hurling multiple cans of Molson at his stricken face. The next, he cowered beneath a WWE-style body slam from some rogue fan in a Caps jersey who had vaulted the security railing to attack him with his own makeshift pair of vulcanized fists. Shielding his head with both arms in fetal instinct, Harry felt each blow impact with sickening, meaty thuds. The metallic spray of blood misting his lips sent flashes of strobe lights ricocheting through his terrified psyche as surely as the kicks continued raining down with brutal ferocity upon his midsection. "Where's your pussy hat, princess? Teach this B*** H the hockey way. Git, I am in the airy sack. Make him squeal like the little piggy he is." It was the final jeering taunts of incandescent vitriol directed at him that awakened a shockwave of searing clarity in Harry's thoughts, parting the encroaching black veil of unconsciousness and survival instinct. For within the warped, feral sneers of those two deranged men now beating and stomping him within an inch of his life, he perceived two achingly familiar faces. William and Charles, shrouded beneath those grotesque masks of hatred and wrath, deriving maniacal ecstasy from the spectacle of his ritualistic emasculation before the whole wide world. Air. He needed air. Precious oxygen to replenish the bloodied sinuses and blown capillaries. Harry opened his mouth in a vain attempt to suck down a replenishing draft, only to instantly regret doing so. For with that feeble, desperate gasping came an acidic, choking deluge of amniotic sputum and rancid viscera hemorrhaging up from his punctured esophagus. Vomit sprayed forth in violent gouts over the stage as Harry spasmed in agony, ropes of mucus and clotted blood now dangling obscenely from his lips. He no longer cared about looking directly into those scorching spotlights, instead allowing the blinding white glare to envelope his senses. A profound, noble acceptance fell over him in rippling waves as darkness consumed his vision entirely. So this was how destiny willed for it all to end, a once proud, honored military aviator within the world's most esteemed houses of monarchy beaten to a wretched puddle on live television. A pitiful, reviled cuckold who had surrendered every fiber of his backbone and dignity to the riptide of narcissistic lunacy and emasculating hatred embodied by his false of a wife. Peace began replacing the pain, his battered soul emerging in wispy clouds to float above the ruined tableau of his crumpled, profaned body convulsing upon that damned NHL award stage. A celestial numbness dissociated every nerve ending from stimulus as the miasma of cheers and insults devolved into undulating white noise, and then absolute, blissful silence. An impossibly bright light blazed ahead, growing ever nearer with a gravity that commanded every molecule within his aura to join together in lustrous union. Was this truly the inexorable path to sweet, eternal release from suffering that so many poets and scribes had woven into their paeans of rapture? A chance for his tattered spirit to drift from its mortal shackles, carried upward into an Elysian plane of forgiveness and infinitely merciful communion with the cosmos? As the warmth embraced him and tendrils of amber luminescence began dissolving his essence into scintillating motes, the last coherent flicker of mentality to illuminate Harry's consciousness manifested as a single, ineffable emotion. Gratitude. Strange, but the gnawing, all-devouring self-pity and impotent fury he had drowned in for so long no longer held sway. He sensed no lacerating regrets or anguish over the unutterably cruel path that had led him to this spiritual uncertainty. No despairing meditations over how the family he had cast aside with reckless scorn now delivered his literal, physical reckoning. Archie and Lily, those beautiful, innocent cherubs he had brought forth into this turbulent plane. That compassionate fortitude reserved for their adoring, devoted father had been the final blissful balm to salve the boundless distress of his pitiable degradation here in the end. Harry allowed his soul's frayed borders to dissolve into the golden embrace, each molecule carried skyward on currents of blissful reunion with the source. That fundamental truth endured even as the obliterating rush of white radiance enveloped and subsumed him from all physical sense perception, the final spark of consciousness smoldering away into infinite sustenance. The children would endure in ways he could no longer linger upon or fret. Yes, he could let go now, join the ancients in realms beyond this boundless, unforgiving plane. He had earned that peace at the very last, unburdened of the temporal travails and wait.